A very A very good evening to all of you. In this session, we would understand when you are writing your answers for UPSC examination, how can you enrich your answers? Now, when I say enrich your answers, the key idea is to make your answer different from other answers. Because when there are, let's say, 30 copies on the same optional, how would your copy stand apart? And that's the most important thing when you are writing your answers. So, one good way to enrich your answer is to include case studies. Now, when I say case studies, students are often confused. Do I need to refer through journals, good editorials? You may or may not, but still you can find ample of case studies. I take a very simple example for today. As we proceed, in the meanwhile, if you have any questions or doubts, you can simply post those in the comment section and I'll be more than happy to take your queries ahead. So let's say there is a question on renewable sources of energy. Now, when there is a question on renewable sources of energy, be it the section on GS, be it the section for geography optional students, how would you include a case study? That's a big question. Excuse me. So when renewable energy question is asked, you can, let's say, include about the Suzlon recent windmills that were released, the new windmills that are installed. That's one way of explaining your answer. The second way to enrich your answer is actually to include a case study from a famous organization. For example, I include the case study of National Institute of Wind Energy. Now, this institute is established in Chennai in the year 1998. Now, with this institution coming into existence, this has brought, let's say, the wind turbine test station which was released at the region of Kottayar in Tamil Nadu, and that was with the help of Danida from Denmark. So, assistance from other nations can help build these projects on wind energy. That's one way. Now, with this coming into force, there are various celebrations which have been done. For example, the Global Wind Day. Then you have sanctions for various programs that could be organized for wind energy that could help in the growth of wind energy. New initiatives, for example, advanced measurement stations, which are part of the recent initiatives of NIWE, is another good example that could be included. So when we talk about renewable source of energy, we are focusing that we are talking about renewable energy, but within the ambit of renewable energy, I am picking, let's say, one energy which is wind energy. And on that wind energy, I am putting a case study of National Institute of Wind Energy. And this case study in itself would make a significant difference in my answer as compared to other answers. So this is how you can have your answers stand apart. Then you can also mention that how in the coastal areas of India, in the regions of Gulf of Khambat, then in the regions close to Sri Lanka, in the Palk Strait, we have established the wind power energies. In the region of Tamil Nadu itself, there are 8 different zones which have been identified for the establishment of wind as a source of energy. Now, all these examples would help you understand how wind power can come into existence. Now, if I take another important thing, I can highlight about the benefits of wind energy. Definitely, the capital cost for installation of a wind plant is at par with any conventional plant. So that's one thing that you can keep into account. The fuel is zero cost. That's another important benefit. There is additional capacity to increase the wind power generation, but one limitation that it is intermittent. That means wind does not blow regularly. So when the wind blows, you can have the wind energy, but other times you would have to have a backup source for this energy source. Also, this energy source do not have any adverse impact onto the environment. So that's another way of putting this point. Some statistics that you can enhance your answer with. So when you are putting wind study as a case study, specifically, let's say pertaining to the National Institute of Wind Energy, you can jot down the case studies. For example, the pollution saving from an average could be reduced by 2 to 3.2 tons for sulfur dioxide, around 1 to 2.5 tons for nitrogen oxide. Carbon dioxide around 300 to 500 tons can be reduced. So that is how, when I'm talking about an equivalent of 4 lakh gigawatts that would be produced, this is the reduction in the atmospheric pollution that could be witnessed. So definitely a greener source of energy. That is one way of putting it. Now, let me put another good example for you. I take another example of, let's say there is a question on cyclone or formation of cyclone. We call it cyclogenesis. Now, within this cyclogenesis, there is a form of cyclone generation which is known as explosive cyclogenesis. Explosive cyclogenesis is all of the sudden when low pressure meets with high pressure around a difference of 24 millibars in 24 hours. So we call it as bomb cyclone. Now bomb cyclone, which is also known as bombogenesis, could be put up as another case study in your answer on, or a question on cyclone. And this is why it is important, because recently it has been in news because of the severe blizzard conditions in United States of America. So I hope you are getting the point how to enhance your answer writing using the various case studies. These case studies could be contemporary in nature, they could be historical in nature, or they could have a geographical significance. So all of these points need to be taken into account. As we proceed further, if you have any questions, you can post those in the comment section before we proceed. Now, let me take another example. So here, there are some questions from, like this is the test series, our test series which has been recently released. Now, this test series is for GS paper 1. Now, let's say some of the questions are here. Geotagging and its importance. Now, geotagging is recently in news, and then the importance of geotagging. Again, you can include case studies for this question. I'm just mentioning the kinds of questions where you can actually bring in case studies. Interlinking of river. In the south, we have the Son tributary, and then that project again you can put as one of the examples for interlinking. In terms of golden quadrilateral and its impact onto the society, you can also mention the renumbering of the national highways recently, and you can take a specific section of golden quadrilateral, a specific region, let's say the path between Delhi and Mumbai, and you can pick any section there and then mention how this project has led to the development of the nearby villages. So a small case study could be incorporated there. Again, glacier outburst in Himalayan regions and how do India tackle it. So this is a comprehensive topic. We have covered a separate video onto it. Just refer that. Then again, in light of monsoon, the mechanism of onset of monsoon, then when we say majority of the lives depends on monsoon, we can include how agriculture in India is dependent on monsoon, and for an agriculture predominant nation, why this onset of monsoon is an important aspect. Now let's say this is a question on cold current, warm current, but if it was on cyclone, temperate or tropical cyclone, you could have well introduced the concept of bombogenesis and explained the bomb cyclone recently being formed in the regions of United States. So those are some of the questions from the GS section where I gave you traditional examples. Now the next is a historical case where I talk about economic conditions of France and how it led to French Revolution. Now in this case of economic conditions of France, you can mark out the specific segments of the population, the social hierarchy, the clergy, the noblemen, and how they had the important implication into the concept of Renaissance. So that's again one of the important aspects. Now in the intangible heritage, you can include one of the case studies and explain that. Now here is another question, another set of questions, and this is from geography. So this is again a kind of sample question paper which has been released for 2023 test series. So we have put in certain questions here. Now since these pertain to the geography optional, a lot of you might not be familiar with, so I'll just take a very simple example. For example, if you go on to question 4C, why Makrana marble has been selected as a global heritage stone. Now here you would talk about the types of marbles, the Makrana marble, the uniqueness of Makrana marble, in which all historical buildings Makrana marble has been used, and therefore it has been titled as the global heritage stone. Any other stones which have been remarked in the category of global heritage stone would also be mentioned here. So this is one of the examples. Now I take another example. Go to question 3b. The problems associated with groundwater withdrawal in special reference to Indian context. Now here you can take, let's say, the case study of Punjab, where we have lots of grey zones which are developing. Now when I say lots of grey zones that are developing, we need to understand the repercussions in light of Green Revolution. So with Green Revolution introduction, we introduced high yielding varieties which required a lot of irrigation for them, and as a result the depletion of the groundwater table. Now again, with the depletion of the groundwater table, there was another important concern, which was the rising levels of arsenic in the water. So that's again another important aspect that you can take into account here. So those are some of the questions that we have taken into account. Ramkumar, if you have any questions, you can post that in the comment section and I'll be happy to take those. But as mentioned, when you are talking about case studies, any of the case studies, it's very important to understand that when you are writing your answer, even with one or two examples, you can make your answer very different from other copies, and that would significantly matter in your answer writing and in your final marks that you obtain. In coming videos and few of the videos that we have taken before, there is a specific playlist, answer writing for UPSC optional and the tips for answer writing. If you go on to that playlist, you would find we have taken certain videos where we have compared 3 different answer copies or 2 different answer copies on the same answer. Now when you are comparing those answers, you would automatically have an idea that which answer looks best, and that would give you an idea why we are saying incorporation of case studies is extremely important to enrich your answer writing. Praveen has a question regarding public administration lecture. So Praveen, on the Doorstep Tutor website itself, we have released the public administration video lecture courses. So you can just go for it. You can select whether you are preparing for UPSC or NET. Based on that, the detailed public administration lectures would be available to you. If you have any further questions, you can just drop us a WhatsApp on our number, which is 999 800 8851, or you can also call this number 999 800 8851. So that's the main number contact for Examrace. Now this was for today. In case you have any questions, any doubts, feel free to connect back to us. I am also willing to provide free one-on-one consultation for your UPSC or NET preparation. If any student is facing trouble, they can easily reach me out by dropping a simple email request. We can arrange a phone call for the same. Also, for your answer writing, any answers that you send to us, we do evaluate it with great detail, and with every answer evaluation there is an improvement call, right? And that improvement call is a personalized one-on-one call, specifically dedicated to what you have written in your answer and how that answer could be further enhanced. So this would give you a clear insight how to improve upon your answers. Even with 1 or 2 papers you would have a clear understanding which areas you are struggling with, whether it is the lack of content, whether it is the lack of knowledge, whether it is a lack of presentation skills. Once you have that clear framework in mind, you can definitely proceed with improvement in the allied areas. So that was a session for today. In case you have any questions or queries, feel free to connect back to us. We'll be more than happy to respond to you. Wish you very good luck. Have a wonderful day ahead.